I was excited for Spider-Man Brand New Day, not just because it was a Spider-Man film, but also because it was a Destin Daniel Cretton film. Destin Daniel Cretton has soon turned up to be one of my favorite directors of all time. I watched his debut film Short Term 12, which is an indie starring the younger Brie Larson, Rami Malek, and Caitlin Dever. It is a film that stays with me and will forever stay with me. But I came to know of him from Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I was interested in Shang-Chi well in advance because of the amazing hype it was getting through the reviews. And of course, after the disappointment in Black Widow, it was the first Marvel film that was releasing in theaters in India. So I went in the theaters with high expectations, and those were extremely fulfilled after I came out watching Shang-Chi. Then came Wonder Man, a series which I was especially interested in because of the involvement of movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I wanted to see how they treat a film about a film, and in this case, a series about a film in the MCU with superheroes, and that was amazingly done by Destin. And now, finally, I heard that he was going to direct Kang Dynasty, Avengers Kang Dynasty, but that got cancelled, of course, due to the Kang issue. But I am so glad that Avengers Kang Dynasty was cancelled so that Destin Daniel Cretton can direct Spider Man Brand New Day, which I believe is the second best Spider Man film in the MCU trilogy, and all total my fourth favorite Spider Man movie forever.
Okay, so for this video, I want to do something a bit different because all the other reviews you have seen on this channel where I talk, I always like write down my reviews in very detailed manner and just narrate it because I find it very hard to like talk on the flow about films. I have to like think about it, right? But for this one, I do want to do it differently, and I'm actually like talking on the flow. So I'm sorry for that. But yeah, for this film, because I want to speak from my heart for this one, specifically for this one, because Spider-Man is Spider-Man is different for me, right? Because the thing with Spider-Man is I was also talking with Onark about this, that I can never truly like analytically dissect Spider-Man because Spider-Man has been such a big part of my childhood. Like he is still a real character in my brain. Like I can close my eyes and think that yeah, there is a guy named Spider-Man who um, like swings through Queens and everything. Like he exists in that part of the world, and because I have never gone to Queens myself or New York myself, I just don't know, or I haven't seen it. So yeah, that like childhood vision like thing still works for me for Spider-Man and also Harry Potter. But today we are talking about Spider-Man. So in that way, actually reviewing a Spider-Man film for me is very hard in that way because I really don't wanna think about how a shot is looking or what type of editing is there or what the director how the director's signature style is coming off in a Spider-Man movie, because I just want to watch a Spider-Man movie, and just for a Spider-Man movie I don't want to like dissect it like all the other films. But yeah, but I can just in that way this review is a bit different, as I said, because I'm like speaking from my heart in that way. I'm not like analytically dissecting it.
And that is why the title of the video. This is Film Students Don't Review Spider Man
Hey, can we
Brand
do
New
this
Day.
one at a time, please?
You're the only one who can defeat it.
Spider Man Brand New Day totally looks different from any of its predecessors. It has a completely distinct directorial style. Every shot and every frame of this film is crafted with passion and craft and creativity and detail that can be easily seen on screen. This was an MCU film that did not look like an MCU film, and neither did it look like a generic superhero film. This looked amazing. This had a personality. Justin Daniel Cretton and his cinematographer had created a world which felt lived in. It felt like New York, the daily lives of New York, and how the daily lives of New York was being set up and being helped by Spider Man. And also, a few of my favorite shots from the film were the shots inside the mask, where Peter's costume is waving and wailing in the air as if he is still human. He is a man under the spider mask, and his tensions, his vulnerability, everything is getting seen through his eyes. And Tom Holland's acting has improved year by year, and we saw him growing this year only from the Odyssey, where I actually liked Tom Holland's acting, which is a very controversial opinion as I saw on the internet, but in this, he absolutely peaked. Zendaya, of course, is good as usual because she is a great actress. Everyone knows that from the drama this year to now this and next to Dune 3. She is great, but Tom Holland, I have to give him because this is his film. This is a Tom Holland lead film, not anyone overshadowing Tom Holland. There's no Tony Stark. There's no Doctor Strange who is going to overshadow Tom Holland. There's no Toby Spider-Man. There's the Andrew Spider-Man. It's all Tom Holland. It's his Spider-Man, and it's the most Spider-Man film ever made.
I just want to say that the first half of this film, everything works for me. Pretty much everything worked for me. Because the way they built up Spider-Man, because Spider-Man, there is a um, online discourse on Spider-Man. Like, it's very trendy to say nowadays, like, I like my Spider-Man sad and miserable. But yeah, of course I do like when my Spider-Man is sad and miserable, and I wanna see him suffer. But that's not really the thing for me. The thing for me is I wanna see Spider-Man grieving. I wanna see Spider-Man mourning. That's the thing. Like, when they say suffer, I think the online discourse is talking about a different kind of suffer. I mean, of course, the grief is still there, but the Spider-Man, what Spider-Man means to me specifically is that he is a man um, who is in a constant grief, almost like John Wick. Like, when I see John Wick, I can see that a man is grieving, right? Like, and when I see Spider-Man, I see the same man, like in every frame of the film, in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, even in the Amazing Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. That is a man who is in constant grief, and that is the character of Spider-Man for me. And in the Marvel's film, of course, that version of Spider-Man was just not there in the first two films, like Far From Home and all that. But yeah, I did find, not only me, a lot of people, the majority of people found their Spider-Man in No Way Home with Tom Holland. When Aunt May dies, that is where Marvel Spider-Man is born, and that is a very popular discourse. But yeah, in this film, of course, I think you have also heard about this in pretty much all the other reviews, so it's not like I'm saying anything new with this, that. But yeah, I did, when I saw Spider-Man in this film in the first half, like, yeah, that guy is Spider-Man, because I could see a grieving man behind the mask in that way.
The first half of the film, where it gives the homages to the different comic books in the opening, different comic book covers, felt a little rushed because it's always jump cutting to that comic book cover, and those who doesn't know what is happening will feel a little jarred by that scene. But after that, when it picks up pace and sets up the character of Spider-Man, his trauma, and not giving up that letter, that is where the film hits so hard, because it feels like those Insomniac games of Spider-Man, and that is not in a bad way, because it's in a good way, because people play the Insomniac Spider-Man games just to swing around the city. I myself do that. So that is what we want to see in Spider-Man: swing around New York, swing around the skyscrapers, and fail sometimes, fail miserably, and then the organic web shooters come up, and then he again fails and fails. Then we have the homage to Toby Spider-Man, where he's controlling the organic web shooters, and then we also have the homage to Andrew Spider-Man when she saves MJ. So, like, this is a culmination of everything Spider-Man represents. It's the hope, it's the passion, and the message. My favorite scene from the film is right at the very end, just before the main ending. This is when he is getting out of the hospital and Punisher is flexing as Spider-Man with the Spider-Man mask, and he is coming there, and Spider-Man, Peter Parker, is walking amongst this crowd of Spidey fans, and one kid notices him and does the Spidey sense thing, and after that they all cheer for Spider-Man together, and Peter himself realizes how much of an important person Spider-Man is, but he himself, Peter Parker, is a lonely young child, now a man in his midlife, paying rents, doing laundries, and getting absolutely crushed by the world. And that's why even Sadie Sink's Jean Grey connected to me so well, because Jean Grey was the person who is also going through the same issue. And ultimately, what is superhero films about? Superhero films are about these different people who will be termed as freaks. They try to help people and gain the support of the world because one small mistake they do will label them as vigilantes and not superheroes. And we all know how that turned out in Daredevil Born Again.
So the first half of the film, pretty much everything clicked with me. The build up, every Spider-Man has to go to the same things. It's like their canon event, and it really showcases in this movie like how that canon events happen with this version of Spider-Man, this version of Peter Parker. And yeah, I think they really nailed the first part, and that's where now I come to the second part. And yeah, I do have some major issues with it, which will which is pretty different from what Onargo says like how he feels about the film. We are pretty like on the polar opposite sides when coming to the second half of this film. So the thing with the second half is, I think, as beautifully as they set up the first half, the second half is really messy for me, because you see, one of the most major things this film really struggles with is that, of course, MJ and Ned is not there, right? So you lose that trio, and the script writers, I can like literally see the script writers are like scrambling to find buddies for Spider-Man in that way. So they bring in Punisher and the Hulk, and yeah, there is a discourse that this is not really Punisher, because he's not only nerfed, he's pretty much reduced to a man who is cool with guns, and that has never been Punisher to me. I mean, of course, there is a thing that this is PG-13 and they have to nerf Punisher in that way. But yeah, I don't think they even nerfed Punisher. This is a completely different character than Punisher in my opinion. So in no scenes did he feel like Punisher to me. And like when I was talking with a friend after the screening, we like sat down and we jotted through all the scenes of the film, and we talked like, if we remove Punisher from the entire film, and then we like restructured it in our heads, and we came to the conclusion that yeah, the film doesn't really change if we take out Punisher out of the equation. So in that sense, the way they set up Punisher in the first half I really liked, but the ending, the payoff, the way they used Punisher in the second half, I think it's more than a misuse in my opinion. And the same goes with Hulk, which is nothing but a glorified cameo again. I mean, I know there is a thing with like IP handling that's going on behind the scenes and all that, so they can do limited stuff with Hulk in that way. I am very happy that the strong Hulk is back and like the Professor Hulk is gone. Of course, I'm very happy with that. But to me, we could have like done that in Doomsday also. But in that sense, I think all the side characters that were in place to fill up the absence of Ned and MJ were really like misused in that way, because yeah, that really didn't work for me. Like when I like think about it in retrospect more now, it's really bringing down the movie for me in that way. And the worst thing that I felt about this movie is the villain, right? And Onargo has a very good counter argument to this. The guy who is like controlling Jean Grey in this film, he is supposed to be the villain, and because he is such a minor and forgettable role that even Onargo, after the screening, when I was saying like the villain really didn't click with me, he's like, where was the villain? And yeah, that is a point to me, that is a valid point to me, because you know, there can be a discourse that there is no villain in this film. The villain is actually Spider-Man himself, like he's fighting with his own inner demons and stuff. But yeah, in that sense, I don't really agree with it, because from the first half of this film, I could see in hindsight that they're setting up this guy as the villain, and I could sense something wrong with this guy. So I was on board with the concept, like yeah, Of course, Jean Grey will never be the villain, right? Jean Grey is the superhero, but in that sense, I was like, yeah, of course, this guy is the villain. That was very obvious to me, but I can see how that is not that will even like go over the heads of most people, because that guy is so forgettable. And when I really think about it now, this might be the worst Spider-Man villain of all time to me. Like, not only in the live action movies, even in the animated films and the TV shows, like I have never seen a Spider-Man villain fail this bad. So that's the thing. And because Jean Grey's entire arc and entire story was so connected with this guy, of course, like um, actually, you see, I have even forgotten his name. I don't even remember his name, how insignificant that guy is. So since Jean Grey's entire arc is like so closely related with this guy, he brought down Jean Grey for me too, unfortunately. Because the thing with Jean Grey is, of course, I do like her. I do like what Sadie Sink has done with the character, but yeah, it's just uh, it's not Sadie Sink's fault, right? It's like when you're so closely related to such an ass character, it really brings you down. So in that sense, I'm unfortunately very disappointed in the second half, as I said, with the side characters like Punisher's use, Hulk's use, but also this entire villain, and thus extending to Jean Grey's situation, that really bring down the movie for me.
Now, the way I justify this villain problem is by saying that I believe that the person who was in charge of DODC was a very forgettable character, I agree. But I don't think that person is the villain, because as far as I see, this played into the same trope of the ending of the Thunderbolts, which is also again a great movie and one of my favorite Marvel films ever made. So the ending of the Thunderbolts was basically the villain till now of the film, which is Sentry and the Void, is now battling through his inner turmoil, and Yelena comes and consoles Void, and he becomes good again. Exactly that happens here, because Jean Grey, who is the so-called pursued villain, because she's being built up so well, like the build up of the villain is so great that jumping from one person to another person minds, that is so great. That is one of the greatest Spider-Man villains, I think, if Jean Grey is the villain. Now, Jean Grey in the beginning, of course, Jean Grey is not a villain, and so Sentry is even not a villain. But in the beginning, both of them, Jean Grey and Sentry, were villains in their respective films. And then slowly, by the end, they turned into good. Now, and also similar to Thunderbolts, they related with the same problem as our hero, which is also happening here. And it's funny because Yelena is also in this movie. So now what is happening is that the person controlling Jean Grey, who is shown as the main villain here, who wants to get Jean Grey's powers, is the guy who is in charge of DODC. And that same person in Thunderbolts was the character of Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. So that same person, like the most unused, like most lesser used character in Thunderbolts, I would say, and the most forgettable one too, was Val was basically the actual villain who was pulling the strings. In this case, also DODC's guy, he's the actual villain who is pulling the strings. But the issue is that there we are not calling Val the main villain. In that film also, we are calling that Sentry was the villain, and then he became good. And this film also, I would like to say that Jean Grey was the villain and then became good. And I would not count DODC as the main villain, rather. So seeing that as Spider-Man's weakest villain doesn't make sense to me, because in this film Jean Grey was the villain to me. Later she turned good. And also about the Hulk part, I believe that Hulk was finally done right after many years in this movie. Like, of course, this could have been done in Doomsday, but again, so many things are being done in Doomsday. Do we really have time to set things up in Doomsday? Because before Infinity War, we had so many films to set things up, but in before Doomsday, we didn't set anything up. Literally nothing. So I believe that this Spider-Man movie was really needed for Doomsday to be set up. because this is the only time we are setting up Doomsday, final time. So of course Hulk and the Punisher and every other character, Yelena, who appeared in this was very much needed, I believe. And Punisher in this case, yeah, maybe Punisher is out of character in this film because again of the PG-13 rating, and especially in India because even the words which are being muted by Peter Parker on screen has been censored by the CBFC, which is very weird. So that is one thing. But yeah, that is my main point, that maybe it's like a comic book film where random characters who are stepping in and stepping out in, who live in New York City, are coming in to help Spider-Man, because that's what we wonder sometimes. Like, no, when we are watching a comic book film, like when Thunderbolts is happening, we are also wondering that where is Spider-Man, where are the other heroes who are already living in New York, like Daredevil maybe, and what is Kingpin's reaction? He's the mayor. So but those were not cleared in Thunderbolts, and that's why we complained. And now we are saying that this Punisher, Hulk, Scorpion, and these people and Yelena are coming in. But that makes sense because it's happening in the same city. And if a threat is looming in the same city, they will obviously, the same characters who live in that city will obviously come to help. That is my point. And exactly so, I believe that is justified, that Punisher coming in. And of course Daredevil and Kingpin cannot come in this time because they are of course jailed. But yeah, that is my belief.
But the thing is, I liked everything they did with Spider-Man. Not only in the first half, in the second half also. Like every little thing, Onarko has already said on this, so I will not like repeat it so much. But yeah, everything they did with Spider-Man, I loved it. I loved it so much. Even in the final scenes of the film, where like the ass stuff with the villain and Jean Grey is going on, and then Spider-Man comes in the room, and the character's dynamic changes, right? Because but even in that scene, like Spider-Man he is amazing in this film. Like this is the best Spider-Man has ever been since Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. I think Spider-Man is better in this film as Spider-Man than even Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3. I would even go as far to say that. But yeah, it's just, Spider-Man is so great. I just hope like the supporting characters and the negative characters in this film were on their level. So yeah, that's the only thing. But of course, it's a very good Spider-Man film to me. um, yes, the second half does bring it down considerably to me, because of the first half, first half there is no complaints, like 5 stars for me. But the second half is like, it brings it down to the entire film, it brings it down to a 3.5 for me. But yeah, nevertheless, I think this is a very good Spider-Man film. I do see myself visiting it um, in years to come many times, because there are very special moments in this film for me. And I really love that they went back to the organic web shooters and they like stripped Spider-Man of all the technology. I love that decision of them. So yeah, I think that's it. This was a quite different way to review this for me, because as I said, the situation with Spider-Man is quite different for me than other fictional characters.
Bonus review point, the end credits on this is amazingly unique because I have never seen a Marvel film with a live action end credits. Because when you see live New Yorkers enjoying their daily lives, living through their lives, through their sadness, through their love, through their partners, through their walks, everything, and living just a happy day, that is something really hopeful, and maybe we wanted from a superhero film and we got it after a long time. And thanks for Marvel for not ruining it with animated film credits. No offense to animated credits, they are very creative, but this was great. This felt like a destined Daniel Cretton film, not just a Spider-Man movie and not just a MCU movie. This had the authorial voice and this had a distinct vision, which is lately missing from many superhero films.